the Ravens players that I spoke about
yeah.
in game 1, but some of them even I can kill, which is saying a lot.
Putting yourself down there feels bad, man.
There's a reason I'm a commentator, not a player.
Well, I mean, same. Same. But
at least you went pro.
I tried at least, yeah. I gave it a go at least.
You got some shirts out of it.
Yeah, I got some nice little jerseys. So that was nice. But yeah, it looks like they're kind of choosing their own sides again. We saw that last game where they kind of split off amongst themselves in the different areas of the map. But now on Miramar, we haven't actually seen Miramar on this.
It's first time. Yeah.
This just yet. So this could be quite interesting to see what they go for. Is actually a big sort of blue blob going down towards Chumacera.
I mean, it's something we saw in game 1 with the Ravens players. It's the same again, but the Ravens players who went to South George. And I mean, they got kills, but it really didn't work out just because they didn't grab those vehicles. But it looks like it's almost a strategy from Hungary, where they send their sort of death stack, and that circle's it's looking Turkish.
Yeah, it's looking very, very Turkish-y. Bendita side, the Hulk Jesus there. Love to see it, but
he's quite hench there, isn't it?
Yeah.
More muscles than I have.
Yeah, right. He's I mean, he's got some pecs there, but then again,
not sure what those abs are though.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got to work on those. Do some crunches.
I mean, it's a bit hypocritical of me to exercise.
So I'm the same, honestly.
I haven't exercised in years.
Apologies, Hulk Jesus. I apologise. Nonetheless, though, yeah, there is a big blob towards the north side of Chumacera. It looks like they've backed off from Chuma. I think they wanted to go for it, and then obviously a few Turkish players were contesting. They were like, well, no, I'm good. We're gonna go back up towards north side. But
Vanti's sharing and caring with Kamdo. I wonder if I presume they both know based on the way Kamdo's moving. I don't think he does, and if Vanti hears him, that is going to be a free kill, and it is actually making through. But he's only got the semi-auto, but Kalandor hasn't heard him yet.
Ooh, okay. I mean,
I don't like this.
Strategy.
Well, the nade's going to work.
Yeah, that's about work. Does some damage, gets the flash for the mini.
Had me stressed there.
Ruins his helmet, unfortunately, but is what it is.
Worked out in the end. Just about.
Yeah, exactly. It's a free point. That's not even a point. There's no point to this, is there?
It at least makes the teams equal. I think Hungary only went in with 31 this time. So
yes. Okay.
It's got equal teams. But with this circle, there's a lot of opportunity for the Hungarian team to sort of take that Minas area. We often see these circles go towards sort of Bendita and then shift south because of the hilltops on Minas. The circle can't shift towards on that phase 4. So there tends to be the sort of just on the south edge of Minas on these sort of circles. So okay, I'd like to see some teams just to the east of Graveyard. You know that hill with the I can't remember what they're called. There's sort of the factory buildings on the hill east of Graveyard. It's such a nice position in this sort of circle. Yeah, just to get some information.
Yeah, exactly. Towards the San Martin side and northern side as well, getting all that information past Graveyard. And I mean, if they can hold that area, they can probably get some good vision and some good shots and possibly counteract any movement that Hungary does.
I'm curious to see if Turkey tries to be a bit aggressive towards the sort of little death stack we see north of Chumacera. I think they have to recognise that they're very split off from Hungary, like the rest of the Hungarian roster, and whether Turkey can do something or whether they want to do something about them is going to be fun to watch. Because I mean, you look at that once again, it's the full Ravens roster. It's Flexi, that is the sort of the damage and the kills on this Hungarian roster, and they've been spotted now. The first Ravens players get put low, and he goes down to Gika. Absolutely nothing you can do about that. That's going to be the first kill for Turkey. Going make it 31-30. The rest of them are just about escaping to the north, but it looks like once again they don't have vehicles, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, it actually looks like Hungary is going for that Minas area instead of Turkey. I'm quite surprised. Mert hasn't made his way further in.
I think the problem there would be that if Mert goes on his own, then I don't think Hungary would care and they'd just pull up and then Mert's dead.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So unless they send sort of this group that are around Picardo, if they try and drive up, maybe they can take over that position and try and take an early gunfight for the sort of the power position. But I expect we'll see a sort of a north-south divide going on here.
Yeah, I think you're right there for sure.
Always am.
God damn it. the north and south divide. I mean, you can kind of tell like there's a sort of a line going through sort of northern.
There quite literally is a line.
Yeah. So it's like if they sort of split it up in that sort of direction, then whoever gets the circle, you know, it's just coming in pot. You know, it's basically pot luck essentially.
Looks like Hungary have been watching NIP play. Putting 4 people on one vehicle. Never ends well.
Solid stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, we haven't seen much of that from NIP. I feel like anyway. It
was just a once when they all died. If you remember, where was it? It was around school, right? When Reciprocity killed them all.
Ah, yes. Okay, yeah. Makes sense. But yeah, they're all trying to make their way in now. They've all got sort of vehicles of some sort.
Nah, I guess it's real fun. There's a little ridge on these roads. I think it's a really nice little feature on Miramar. The fact that a lot of the sort of the highway roads are slightly raised, only a tiny bit. It doesn't really offer much cover, but when you do drive your vehicle off, it just about protects you from those people trying to ambush the road. It gives you sort of an escape route when you, because otherwise those sort of ambushes are just uncountable. So the fact that those ridges are there, it's a little feature of the game. I really like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, some shots coming from the northern side towards Power Grid, over towards Slippy's Genzo. They've got the 3-seater bike. Slippy, was he? Okay. I thought he was going to like throw an aid or something. I have no idea what he was trying to do. But yeah, they're going to go on their way and make their way into the circle. But looks like a lot of the Turkish players are sort of congregating around Bendita and just trying to take control of the crater there. And I kind of agree with that. You know, you got Sixmo just further west as well, getting some more information there. And the circle does shift north towards Hacienda. So, yeah, Hungary does get the advantage somewhat in terms of the position. But, you know, if history replays itself, then you know, we'll have to see them try to take advantage of that.
There's still those 2 compounds south of Graveyard that are actually pretty strong. And if Turkey can at least get control of those 2, yes, if the circle goes north, it's going to be a bit rough, but they at least have sort of 40% of the map that's under their control. And then it's all about, you know, we'll wait a circle, we'll see what happens, and then we'll play off that. But it looks like Paladaric actually is going to go up towards the factory compounds I was talking about earlier. And they're sitting, I think there's at least one more in the vehicle with him. And if they realise that that's free and they can get a big group up there, suddenly they have this big spearhead into the Hungarian line, where they can start to split off the Minas players from the rest of the Hungarian roster.
That's also true, but then again, you run into this issue where you get sandwiched and you get shot from both sides and just completely collapsed upon, and there's not really much help from anywhere else because it's just one line just getting crushed.
But it looks like they're trying to flood it. There's at least 8-9 players now going towards that area. But it does look like Hungary's going to collapse. There's a lot of people congregating in the graveyard as well. See Alo and Onichan going inside. But if they can push up this hill onto the sort of the death blob moving in from Turkey, if that can get collapsed on from the north, east and west, then maybe this is Hungary's opportunity to win the game, whilst the rest of these players on the south try and get in towards the Turkish roster.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the Turkish players are like nowhere near. I mean, there's only a few of the Hungarian players just further north, but they're all pretty close together. But half of them aren't even anywhere near this fight. So again, I mean, Hungary's in a position to take advantage of this for sure.
And there's the flush coming in. So 30 versus 30 now for the teams. So 2 kills towards Hungary, obviously, because they started off with one less player. They are trying to make this push, but the problem is now all these southern players are coming in, and if they make this push in, then all of a sudden they just get hit from behind. But the circle actually shifts all the way to those hills, so now we know where it's going to go for phase 4. At least it's going to shift west.
It should do anyway.
I think it has to, doesn't it?
Yeah. But
extreme circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. But he does get that crate there. That was a nice little pickup with the crate on Turkey. Mer with that one. And you've got a lot of players. It looks like there's like 3 players going around the eastern side there, just around Minas, to try and get some sort of positioning behind the Hungarian line.
But the problem is, we know that circle is going to be shifting sort of back towards the west, and the fact that the Turkish roster couldn't get control of that factory area, the fact that they sort of had to back off and come around this eastern side, means the next circle is going to be really rough. Hungary has the power positions; they have control of the high ground. Where the circle is going to shift to next. Now, we have to see some aggression from Turkey. But look back at the last 3 games, the Turkish aggression has been perfectly orchestrated every time.
Exactly, you're exactly right. Code Marco taking some shots at the players in church, a lot of them as well. So he's going to be careful there, not to overextend too much. But
it looks like pretty much the entire Turkish roster is going to commit to that eastern push, and they might be able to catch a couple of players off guard. It looks like 2 Hungarian players are going to commit to the top of Minas Generalis, a couple more coming to back them up. But if they can just flood that and probably trade it, it does make it a little bit easier going into that next circle.
Yeah, exactly. I think it seems like the Hungarian players on the eastern side have caught out this push. So there has been a sort of a shift over onto the east. So we'll have to see if...
I mean, 3 versus, what is that, 10 players coming along the north. It's going to be a rough one.
That's for sure, yeah. I
mean, if they can take out 4 or 5 players, then, I mean, it is a success. We look at the score at the minute, 28-29. If they can turn that one in favour of the other way around, then realistically, the Hungarian team is going to be a really strong position going into the later circles.
Exactly. And you see, I mean, this kind of like this line that they have where it's sort of the whole Turkish team essentially has like a full vision. If they just crest over these hills, they have full vision of this line where everyone's out in the open. There's honestly, I mean, there's not much they can really do.
I mean, we see that western shift now coming in, but it has to shift away from the unplayable ground. And realistically, there's not much for the Turkish team to play. The Hungarian roster, though, is backing off and is leaving that eastern side pretty clear. There is a little ridge just where Conti, just to the south of Conti, that they can play if they can take out the players around Minas. But I mean, you have to think the Hungarian roster is at the advantage right now. Although I would like to see them try and take over those northern compounds as well, just to prevent any Turkish flank coming in.
Exactly. Some shots coming through. Hueth catching up the players up on the top here.
Does get the flushing as well, so it's a 2-player advantage towards Turkey now. But that must be at least 15 people in that compound, if not more. I mean, that is the power position in this circle. But we see the sort of the little pockets of players moving out towards the east, trying to prevent any control from the Turkish players. But that could come back to bite the Hungarian people. If these small groups get picked off, we see sort of 5-6 players up on that east. If they get taken out with no real support from the compound, then I mean, just the player advantage for Turkey will probably just swing the game in their favour.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. I mean, they're all kind of like, I mean, well, they're pushing out now, but they were all sort of grouped up in that compound with no real control. And now it seems like they're trying to take as much control as they can, especially on the northern side. They're pushing up pretty close towards the Turkish line as well, especially in this compound and just further south of this. So there's definitely resistance coming in. And Turkey looks like they might be slightly on the back foot here.
Oh, imagine if Code Marco just comes in and does what Pladerick couldn't quite do.
Yeah.
Just kills like 5 people. That'd be the player of the night if it happens. But we see now this little the exclave of Hungarian players up on the eastern ridge getting engaged now. She creates to try and land the shots, but actually gets sniped all the way from the compound, I think. Oh, no, it's from the north, never mind. But Neki still lands a nice little headshot. She creates, goes down. Is there a res? Probably. But there seems to be a bit of aggression coming in from Cuckoo. It looks like he's trying to find a flush, but he's getting tagged up from far. Just because of the sheer massive Turkish players there, they're so difficult to do any sort of aggressive play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we see on the map stream here, there's a lot of well, I say a lot. There's a few players trying to push around the southern side to help out Code Marco on the south, and they're trying to sort of box them in again. But again, on the southern side, just south of that compound that the majority of the Hungary players are sort of located in, there's not much ground to play with. So after the circle shifts, I'm curious to see what they're going to try and do.
I mean, I spoke about how I wanted to see Hungary sort of take over those northern positions and prevent the flank, and that's exactly what they've done. And now they're limiting the Turkish roster to pretty much unplayable ground. If the circle shifts anywhere except straight towards them, like it's just done, I mean, realistically, there's like 100 square meters that Turkey can play safely. They need to find a bit of aggression onto this eastern exclave, otherwise there's no real route into the circle. And here it is, the flank coming in. Hoof gets the first knock. Gluttony gets one more. It looks like it's going to help out. 3 go down now for Hungary.
This is rough.
It's pretty much perfect. This is exactly what they needed to do to take out that eastern group.
Yeah.
And now they've pretty much found a way in. If they can clear this out, if they can force all the Hungarian players back into that compound, suddenly they've got over half the circle to themselves.
There is so much pressure coming from the south side. You got Code Marco on a big flank. He's doing a Poloderak here and essentially coming in from the west. So he's on this big flank. He's got the Groza full level 3 and the Mark 14 as a secondary. This is a setup to be scared of if you're anyone in that compound.
And I mean, unless it was me with the Groza, because I can't hear without thing to save my life. So
to be fair, same.
Yeah. But I mean, this kind of range, when you sneak up to this compound, this is the exact range you want to be with the Groza. So if you can make a play here, get 2-3 kills, then I think realistically the Turkey are going to be the favourites of this game, but they're not quite clearing out that eastern group, and that's exactly what they need to do. This group here, as long as they're alive, Turkey doesn't have a way into the circle.
No, exactly. I love the positioning from Pubg as well. The fact that he's got that ridge to defend him against the compound, but anyone peeking over this ridge that we're looking at right now, I mean, they can't peek over too far because they'll just get blasted. So he's got a really nice spot, and they've taken a lot more control than they originally had.
You see these little groups sort of to the south, you know, Hoops, Lipsin and Rip to an extent, that are starting to make progress into the centre of the circle. But the problem is the positions they're playing are only good when people aren't looking at them. They're actually really exposed. And you see all the shots coming in now as we switch the map. All these people in the compound just laying into them. And realistically, the rest of the Turkish roster can't come join them. So as long as this big eastern group is stuck on the hill, it's really rough for Turkey, even though they have a 4-player advantage. Yeah,
exactly. I'm just waiting for Code Marco to pop off and do something, you know, in the back lines here. Lipson does go down. That's a nice shot from Apollo, just on the northern side there. And I mean, yeah, it's just a fight until something happens, until something breaks out, and then all hell breaks loose.
The one big benefit for the Turkish team right now is that they have the advantage, so they can make those 1-for-1 trades and just win the game that way. As long as they just keep consistently trading, but this circle's perfect for Hungary.
Wow.
This is where someone like Code Marco has to go massive. He does have 2 nades, we saw earlier. If you can use those to take out 2-3 players, and then use the Groza to maybe just scare the rest of the roster, then potentially the rest of the Turkish players have a way in. But we see this sort of northern group all pulling back now. I think they're just going to crash this compound again, put like 15-20 players in there, and Turkey actually gets relatively good control of the south, although I'm not sure how good it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think once the players on the northern hill back away, then they he tried.
There was an attempt.
Yeah, there was an attempt, but
wasn't very good.
Yeah, not a very good attempt.
It's better than to be fair.
But yeah, I mean, like he had to do something, otherwise it would have been, you know, too late essentially. But as I was saying, with the northern hill there, like, the players can now move up to these open areas. There is little dips towards the southern side of this compound, and because they couldn't play that previously because there was so many players on the northern side holding them off. But now they moved. It's free real estate essentially.
I'm honestly quite surprised that Hungary didn't keep the split that they had and just use that to just kill a couple of the Turkish players. Because as long as they had a player advantage, the fact that they have this compound would have pretty much stood them the game. But now they're at a disadvantage, and they've just handed all the map control to Turkey. And maybe once again, Turkey's found a way to win.
Yeah, seems so. They are four players up in terms of raw fragging power, and they do have the majority of control. I mean, technically it's 50-50 if you think about it, because you have Nake and then Creator and his teammate just further east, but it does look like they have majority control.
So many shots.
And there's just so many angles that Turkey have, and so little angles that Hungary have.
And just see the kill feed is going really the way of Turkey, and now 26-21. They got 25. But I just think it's something we've seen consistently against this Turkish roster. I wonder if people perhaps are a little bit scared of the fragging power of this team, because no one seems to want to take this big open engagement.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see here, MİTHRAİN's pushed up really far into the well, I say far into the combat. He's pushed over the road. Bambaki, Free MP, Lazar, all pushing over. This is time to aggress. They're pulling up with their vehicles. Knocks come in, flushes as well.
It gets the double spray now. 2 more players go down. Look at now 25 to 16 now, and the Turkish players are just making assaults on the compound. The final stand of the Hungarian team, and it's not looking good.
No, this next circle will shift, and I mean, obviously the Turkish players have a majority control, even more so now.
There's just no refrags coming in from Hungary. As I say, that Markov gets 1, but 4-1 is just not good enough. Yep. There needs to be some step up, but we just see the Hungarian players are going down all over the place. Turkey, once again, just outplaying these teams. The Slippy's just running people over.
Lord, they just get completely surrounded.
Oh, he's going to get the double spray down as well. He's just got 3 kills out of nowhere.
Lord, the 2-piece, 3-piece. Lots of pieces going around, and
there's 8 players, and pretty much all of them are knocked. 6. I think it's really 1 or 2, and Slippy's just going to get another one.
There we go.
And there we go. Turkey with a hot 3-0, followed by the hot 3-0.
That's pretty hot, to be fair. That's actually nuts.
Making me sweat.